Today, today we are going to talk about the lesson 41, related numbers in a sentence. So for our first theory word, we have the word mic. Next word, we have doctor. Next one, we have 11 again. Next one, we have useful. So for our last theory word, we have return. And that's it for our theory words. So for our next topic, we have the brief forms for lesson 41. So first word, we have hours. Next word, we have this. Next, we have air. Next, we have there. Next one, we have after. Next, we have when. Next, we have will. For our last brief word, we have the word them. And that's it for our brief words for lesson 21. And for our next practice, we have the phrases. So first phrase, we have the phrase I will be glad. Next phrase, we have you have. Next phrase, we have I am sure. Next phrase, we have you will be able. And for our last phrase, we have on that. And that's it for our phrases in lesson 41. So we have here the transcription workout. So I am going to write the shorthand in the whiteboard and I am going to repeat the first write the shorthand. So we read it as Kaplan. Recently, Allen credit termin dear Mrs. with our can you we should as soon as possible. And that's it for our transcription one for lesson 41. And for our lesson 41, we have related numbers in sentence. So in previous lesson, following number rules were presented. Spell out the numbers 1 to 10 within a sentence. Use figures for the numbers 11 above within a sentence. If a number is used at the beginning of a sentence, spell it out. Additional number rule is listed below with examples There is a series of related numbers 1 to 10 in a sentence. Express all of them in words. If one or more of the related numbers is above 10, write all of them in figures. So, first example we have here, there are 5 secretaries and 8 assistants. So we read it as there are 5 secretaries and 8 assistants. So for our next example, we ordered 6 notebooks and 30 envelopes. So we read it as we ordered 6 notebooks and 30 envelopes. And so for our last example, we have we purchase 15 tapes and 20 burgers. Here you go. So we read it as we purchase 15 tapes and 20 records. And that's all in our lesson 42. So in lesson 42, we have the theory words. First theory word, we have Garcia. Next word, we have pleasure. Next word, we have perceive. Next word, we have various. Next, we have items. Next word, we have return. Next, we have handle. For our last theory word, we have forward. That's for our theory words for lesson 42. And next we have the brief forms for our lesson 42. First brief form word we have order. Next we have products. Next word we have enclose. Next word we have represent. Next word we have satisfy. And for our last brief form word we have business. And that's it for our brief forms for lesson 42. And next for our lesson 42, we have the phrases. So first phrase, we have dearness. Next one, we have phrase to pass. Next, we have this will. Next phrase we have we hope that. Next we have with our. Last phrase we have cordially yours. And that's it for our phrases in lesson 42. And next one we have the transcription warm-up for lesson 42. So we have shorthand here, so we are going to write it and read it after. First we have this. Okay. And we have here the transcription warm-up for our lesson 42. So we are going to write it in shorthand and read it after. So that's for our transcription warm-up rather. And read it as copy this brown serve contract release system approval initial questions sincerely dear Mr. of that I have to do let me and lastly you have if you have read. And that's it for our transcription warm-up for lesson 42. And for our last topic here in lesson 32, we have the operations, commas in a series. So when three or more items are listed in a series, the last item is preceded by the word and, or nor. Place a comma before the conjunction in between the other items. So we have an example here. First we have the folder will be held by contain the folder contain letters, comma, text, memos, comma, and forms. Here. So we can see here that we write the comma, this comma before this, the end conjunction. And second example we have meetings will be held in Chicago, comma, Boston, comma, Los Angeles, or Seattle. So in this example, we write the comma, this comma before the conjunction or. And that's it for our lesson 42. And for our next lesson, we have the lesson 43. So theory words for lesson 43. The first word, we have the word Clark. Next, we have magazine. Next, we have the word article. Next word, we have effective. Next word, we have collection. Next word, we have just kind. Just rather. Next, we have kind. Next, we have item. Next, we have creative. Next, we have patient. Next, we have months. And last word for our theory words, we have holiday. And that's it for our theory words for our lesson 43. And next one, we have the phrases for our lesson 43. And the first phrase we have is thank you. Next phrase, we have very much. Next phrase, we have from our. And next phrase, we have at this time. And for our last phrase, we have that will. And that's it for our phrases for our lesson 43. So again, for our lesson 43, we have here the transcription warm-up. So we are going to write a shorthand. And we are going to read it after. So we read this. Wait, let's read this one. So we read this one as White House speaker, shorthand, eager, presentation, how, into, office, remind, September 13, join, proper, dear miss, and thank you for. And that's it for our transcription warm-up for the lesson 43. And lastly, we have the communication skill builder for lesson 43. So here, a similar word is stationary and stationary. And stationary means stable, fixed, or not movable. So, and while stationary is a writing material. So we have here an example. First, the price index is stationary. Here. Next example, we have I have ordered stationary with our new address. So you can see here the word stationary and the word stationary. They are both written the same, but they have the different meaning. So this one is stationary. Stationary. And this one is stationary. And that's it for our lesson 43.
In lesson 44, we will be discussing the following theory words, brief forms, as, if, and when clauses, as well as the transcription warm-up. Now let's proceed first with theory words. We have here 9 theory words. First, we have here personnel committee. Next is 2 p.m. Next is attach. Next is agenda. Next is items. Next is discuss. Next is response. Sounds of S-P-O-N-S for response. Next is attendance. And lastly, appreciated. We also have here 3 brief forms. Brief form is a shortened word or special abbreviation. First, we have here memorandum. Next is immediate. And lastly, regarding. The writing of two or more brief forms together is what we call the brief forms phrases. These are the examples. There will be. There will be. Next is of the. Of the. Next is for the. For the. Let me is simply just let me or let me. If you have. If you have. Next is to have. To have. Next is you will be able. You will be able. Next is will be. Will be. As, if, and when clauses. A group of words that begin a sentence with as, if, or when, followed by a subject and a predicate, is an introductory clause. An introductory clause is dependent on the remaining part of the sentence and should have a comma to set it aside from the rest of the sentence. Be sure the comma is placed at the end of the clause that is introduced by as, if, or when. Note that the as, if, and when clauses are indicated by a comma. For instance, as you know, we will be open Monday through Saturday. As you can see, the comma there is placed at the end of the clause that is introduced by as. As you know is an introductory clause in a sentence where it begins with as and followed by a subject which is you and then a predicate know. Another example, if you need additional assistance, let me know. Same thing and same rule, we will place comma at the end of the clause that is introduced by as, if, or when. So here in our sentence, we use if to begin our sentence, and if you need additional assistance is an introductory clause of if. Therefore, we will place the comma after the word assistance because let me know is another part of the sentence. Lastly, when the shipment is received, I will notify you. So here in our sentence, we use when to begin our sentence, followed by a subject and a predicate. Therefore, we will place a comma after the introductory clause of when. And one thing, why we will need to put comma in these cases? Simply because to set it aside from the rest of the sentence. Obviously, I will notify you is another part of the sentence. And when the shipment is received is a clause introduced by when. Let us try the transcription warm-up 44.2. First outline we have here gentlemen, so this is a brief form. Next is efficient, Los Angeles, Oakland, family, happy, facing, problems, worry, choosing, $7,000. Of these, thank you for the, were not, and yours very truly. In theory words, we have here 100 reams. 100 reams. Next is bond. B-O-N-D for bond. Next is delighted. Delighted. Next is first. Next is received. Next is firm. Another one is process. P-R-O, S and T for processed. Next is sincere. Sincere. Next is also. Next is catalog. Catalog. Next is lowest. For lowest. And lastly, industry. For industry. New set of reforms, we have gentlemen. J and then men. Next is order. Next is yesterday. Next is where. Next is one. Then soon. Next is manufacture. And then products. For brief form phrases, we have here from you or from your. From you or from your. Next is it was. It was. Next, has been. Has been. Next is you should have. You should have. Next is this will be. This will be. And then yours very truly. Yours very truly. Now let's going to differentiate these two similar words, past and past. The word past that ends with T is a noun, means time gone by. For instance, we received several requests in the past week. While the word past with ed is a verb that means moved from one point to another, and it is a past tense of pass. For instance, we passed this building several times. Transcription warm up 45.2. Wiley opened, charge $2,400, promptly, mistake, perhaps, simply, overlook, it has been, let me, and is in. We have heard 12 sets of theory words. First is management. Management. Next is decided. Next is Camden. Next is customers. Next is official. Next is announcement. Announcement. Next is tomorrow. Tom. O-R-O for tomorrow. Next is woods. Woods. Next is many. Next is years. And then address. And lastly, letterhead. Letterhead. We have our 6 brief forms. Let's start with office. Office. Next is representative. Representative. Next is several. Several. Next is orders. Orders. Next is correspondence. Next is direct. Brief form phrases contains 2 or more brief forms together. So first we have here, you will be glad. You will be glad. Next, to know. Next is that hour. That hour. And lastly, we are. We are. Differentiating between council and council. A noun council means that an assembly. For instance, the meeting of the city council will be held in February, while the verb counsel means to give advice. For example, Dr. Jennings will counsel my daughter. Transcription warm-up 46.2. First outline we have here community. Next is adult, silent L. Education, program, excelled, cities, 1000, Wednesday, 7 p.m., approximately, interested, as you know, let me, and if you. Account, pleasure, effective, shorthand, conventions.
We have words here from our past lessons, and we are going to transcribe it into shorthand to serve as a practice activity. So first word we have the word period. And that is how you write the word period. Next one we have the word awaits. So you must not forget the dot here, because that dot uh, represents the sound a. Next one we have the word exceedingly. This one you must not forget the circle here, because that circle represents the word li. So for our next word, we have the word anniversary. That is how you write the word anniversary. For our last word, we have the relationship. So you must not forget the line here because that line represents the word ship.
Dear Mrs. Temple, very often I have written to someone to ask why we have not received payment for items purchased on account, period. That is not why I am writing to you today. Today, we received the final payment from you for the furniture you purchased from us last year, period. There was not one occasion I had to write to you and remind you to send us your payment. Your excellent credit record at our store means that there is no credit limit on your next purchase, period. We will be glad to serve as a credit reference for you should the need arise, period. Cordially yours.